Hey everybody, Andrew the Brocam, K8ARH. I'm going to start calling these episodes book club episodes because I've been reading more and more books. So for today, I've got the book Morse Code Operating for Amateur Radio. This book was $12.95, at least that's what's printed on the back. I bought it probably a year ago and it's been a while before I started actually reading it. So I don't know exactly how much I paid for it, but I think it was probably $12 or $13. Some quick things about this book. Why did I pick it up? Well, I am a member of the Long Island CW Club. I think Morse code's really cool, and I'm just trying to learn more about operating CW. And I thought that, I've liked a lot of the ARRL books so far, so I was like, well, this is only $13. I'll go ahead and get it. It's a very, very short book. Let's see how thick it is there. I don't know the total page count because the page numbers are laid out as chapter dash page number of that chapter, so I'd have to go through and add them all up. But basically, there's 7 chapters. It's a very, very easy read. I would almost be more inclined to call this a pamphlet because it's so short. But nonetheless, it's a okay book, I think. I think if you have read the license training manuals from the ARRL, so like the technician, general, extra, I think if you've read any of those, particularly the general, I think that you've basically read about 50 to 60% of this book. A lot of it feels really regurgitated from that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because you do have to provide context in its own its own book. Especially if the other 40 to 50% provide value to the other 50 to 60%. So, does that make sense? Anyways, so there's parts of the book that I do find really valuable. It's like the operating principles of how a CWQSO is supposed to go. It goes into pretty good detail of like what's expected. How basically like when you're first starting out, you can basically just say like, hey, here's your call, or here's my call sign, and I think this is your call sign. Give me your signal report. Here's your signal report. It's a very basic QSO, and then it talks about more conversational QSOs that you can have with people. So I do think that that's kind of a good part of the book. Also, some other good things is setting up a CW station. That includes things like, which I thought was really cool, it went more in depth into tuning your straight keys and your bugs and your paddles, and it kind of explained what each of those were and the principles behind them and how they worked. I thought that was a fairly valuable thing, and some pitfalls to look out for when you're picking out like full break-in mode or semi-break-in mode and all that stuff. One thing I thought was really cool was the history of Morse code. I thought I knew some of it, but it was actually pretty interesting and that's only like a chapter and a half of the book. But that was a very interesting read to read about the wired telegraphy. I think I'm saying that right, telegraphy, and how when they were originally doing that, you actually didn't have a dit and a da. What it was is a click, pause, click, or a click, longer pause, click. And that was like the original like dit and da. So that was really interesting. And then like early like wireless telegraphy, I thought that was very interesting. But I do feel that honestly, a lot of this information could be gathered just searching the internet. Or reaching out to like your local club. You probably got a couple people in there that do CW. They can explain to you how best to do QSOs with CW. So I'm on the fence about recommending this book. If you just want a little book to slip in your backpack or even in your back pocket, it's so small, just to read like on the bus or something on the way to work. For $13, there's worse ways to spend $13. But I wouldn't get this expecting to become an expert in Morse code overnight. Anyways, I think that's all the time I have for today. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. What do you think about this book? I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about ARRL, you know, in their publications and stuff like that. I've never really had a problem with it. But yeah, I'd also want to point out that you can follow some of my socials down in the description. I'm pretty active on Instagram, and I've also got a Patreon I'm trying to get started just to try to help, again, make this hobby a little more affordable. And if it's more affordable, then I've got more time to make more videos. So that is all the time I have for today. This has been Andrew the Brocam saying 73.